Are you?
All right. Yes, sir. We live.
Let's get it.
What's going on? You think what I'm saying? This your boy Kobe Rise and Rise. We back at it again. One more time.
Yeah,
We got your man Kobe Rise and Rise. We got my brother Showtime in the building.
you already
What
know.
is happening?
Showtime. How you feeling? I'm good, man.
Hey
Bless.
man, shoot. Yeah, that's how I like to hear, man. Blessed and highly favored up in here.
You already know. You already know, man. It's been a good week. First day of February. First day of Black History Month. Man, I do a little. I do a Mr.
That's
28
right.
days, man. Every day in February, I drop a little tip, man. I did it. I've been doing it for about, I want to say at least 3 years. It's been at least 3 to 5 years, man. I forgot why I started it, but my heart
Hmm.
was just led to kind of dropping some tips. I think when I first got started into the fitness field, um, it was just a whole bunch of people asking me stuff, man, and they would tie me up. You remember them Simmons days, man? We get into Simmons, we get to talking, and I used to realize, man, that a lot of my time was spent just kind of helping others. I always had a heart just for kind of
Yeah.
sharing just what I've learned along the years. And during the month of February, I do a Mr. 28 Days where I just kind of freestyle it, man. I just when I get the topic in, I grab my phone, I post it to my social media sites, and I just give a tip. Today, I just kind of broke down caloric deficits. It's short, it's sweet, it's definitely real informative. And through the whole month of February, I'm doing it. So, day one, Black History Month, it's a good time. My birthday's at the end of February. I love February. It's a short month,
Let's
28
go.
days. Yeah, yeah. How things your way,
That's
though,
it.
man? How
That's
you
it, man.
feeling?
Yeah, I saw that post. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good, man. So I was actually about to tell you, man, I saw your post, man. I remember you had did it last year with the 28 days. You did, you know what I'm saying, get everybody kind of going, get everybody thinking about what's going on in the community, man. So, big shout out to you, family. Like I said, it is Black History Month. You dig? And one thing at Rise and Rise, like I said, was one of the main focus was black men, black men health. And that's one thing I take into the top consideration as well as recovery. You dig? And that's what we want to make sure we're doing today, man. And that's a real good topic too when it comes to this high intensity. You
Yeah.
dig into the high intensity benefits. You know what I'm saying? One thing that we're doing this year, and I know you already know, so just to make sure it's public, we're doing a 30-day challenge for everybody who is interested, just to see kind of how we do nice workouts here at the Rise and Rise Academy. You dig? It's gonna be something called Free for 2023. You dig what I'm saying? So it's gonna be 30 days of nonstop work, and you do not need a gym. Let me repeat: you do not need a gym. You dig? You do not need weights. You know what I'm saying? It's straight work, high intensity work. You understand what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean you don't go to the gym. That means you don't have to. Like, still go to the gym, obviously. But if you don't have a gym, it's no big deal. You dig? All you need is maybe 15, 20 minutes of your day every day for 30 days. 15, 20 minutes of your day for 30 days. You dig? And we'll make sure we drop more when it comes to posting the content. Make sure you guys can get the content. Make sure you can do it with us. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing we want to dedicate ourselves to you, and we'll let you know ahead of time. The videos will be available in the app, in the Rise and Rise Academy app. You can download that in your Google Play Store for your Android. You can download this in your App Store for iPhone. You dig? It's a free application. It's called Rise and Rise Academy. So hey, make sure y'all tap in with your boys. Like I said, we got a lot coming. We got a lot coming for you this year. You dig? So we want to make sure everybody's in tip top shape. You know what I'm saying? We training, warriors for our men. We training warriors for our women. We train our warrioresses. You know what I'm saying? Our goddesses out here. You dig? And for the kiddos, we training them up from the boys to men and from the girls to the ladies. You dig? So big shout out to True Eye Clarity and our sponsors, man. So yeah, I think that's a great segue to the topic, man. So benefits of high intensity workouts. You dig what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So show, I'm gonna start with you, man. What are some benefits that you see when it comes to high intensity workouts?
Yeah, man. Just piggybacking off of what you mentioned. We have that 30-day challenge, that free for 23. I think it's going to be real fun. HIT is what I call it. It's HIIT. It's high intensity interval training. And as a group trainer, when I used to do a lot of my group training at the YMCA, that was like my top requested group class. And I kind of fell in love with it because of some of the benefits. So it's really intense. We target the to raise the heart rate, which also kind of helps with some of that weight loss. It helps with some of that fat loss. It helps us burn some of those calories. It was really fun, man, because after that was the only class that after every class I would have people come up to me and tell me how many calories they was able to burn. And that's why I really gravitated toward that high intensity because it's effective. It's so effective. Now, you push yourself, you want to push yourself because we're trying to elevate the heart rate. So actually, I mean, just realistically think about that. So if you're kind of walking at a normal pace on your treadmill, that's not really, that wouldn't be a form of high intensity training. We put some movements on my story the other day, and somebody commented. They were like, "Man, these are simple movements." And a lot of times, especially the way we're doing it, the way the program that Rise and Rise is putting together, these are simple movements but highly effective, especially when you're trying to target weight loss and maybe just some conditioning. And like I use it a lot. I do a lot of high intensity training myself when I'm trying to shred some unwanted body fat. It's really good for all sorts of benefits, man, from that high intensity training. And yeah, man, just to put a little bit more on that 30-day challenge, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. Post some of those before and afters. Like I stated, that's my go-to when I was doing my virtual trainings with my clients. Simple movements, effective movements. So I get my best feedback when I'm hitting you, when I'm putting you on a high intensity training routine. I get my best feedback. So how you feel about it, man? I know we did
That's
when and
facts,
we did
man.
those movements.
Um,
We've been working on the program, man, and we even felt it. We felt how good it's gonna be. When we're able to unleash some of these movements in this 30-day challenge. But yeah, I was asking you how you feel about it.
that's a fact. That's a fact. Am I freezing up on you?
Yeah, it was a little delay.
Okay. All right, I got you. Yeah. I was actually saying that, I agree with you. And, just to kind of give people some background about we call it HIT. And the reason we call it HIT is because it's called high intensity interval training, for those who really don't know. And all it means is it's a spike in your heart rate, which is why it's called high intensity. And it's high spikes because you're going at a fast rate. You know what I'm saying? So doing things like burpees and sprinting, those are high intensity type of workouts. These things shoot your heart rate through the roof, and not necessarily meaning in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? You don't do these things for a long period of time. You do them for a short circuit, maybe like 60 seconds or something like that. And that's actually on the long side of it. You dig what I'm saying? And you do breaks. You know what I'm saying? So you do up. It's kind of like like your heart rate. You ever seen a hospital that go just beat, 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 beat? That's what your heart rate doing. You spike them up, come back down, rest for a little bit, spike it up, spike it down, rest for a little bit, and that's what you call high intensity interval training because it's intervals of high spikes, intervals of low spikes, intervals of high spikes, intervals of low spikes. And what people use it for, and then I'm gonna give my take on it. Really, is to burn cardio, but it not only just burns cardio, but it also builds muscle depending on how you do it. So what me and Showtime do, like I said, it's gonna be a part of the 30-day challenge. Is you incorporate these high spikes with muscle building workouts. So, for example, when you do a body squat, you know what I'm saying, you're working on the leg muscle and doing them in a certain level or a certain pace or certain intensity can increase your heart rate, which entails that you can burn calories when you increase your heart rate. But not only are you doing that, you are also doing a muscle building workout because you're building your leg muscles, you're building your quads, you're building your hamstrings, and you're building your glutes. Depending on how low you go, the lower you go, you're building more into your glutes. You dig? And so those are just some of the tricks of the trade of what you can do with a high intensity level workout. So for those who want to like lose weight, but they don't necessarily want to be slim, because we can do cardio all day, that steady state cardio. So what happens, you will lose weight, but you also lose muscle too. So some people don't really know that. So just for a basic understanding, you running, you ever seen a mile runner, like a long distance runner? They run like 2 miles or whatever like that. Let's just say if you run track, I know for my track runners, they already know what I'm talking about. For most of those track runners, you're not going to see a 2 mile runner built like a bodybuilder. You're not going to see that because they run miles. So let's say if you run a mile in a track workout, then your training is miles of running. So you're probably going to run 4 miles as a workout to train for your 1 mile run. Because if you're going to run your mile in your fastest, you need to be able to run a long period of time at a steady state pace, which means that your body's going to consume a lot of resources. So it's going to lose weight. It's going to have to be thinner in order for you to continue to run at a fast pace. So some of the best distance runners is what I call them, distance runners. Some of the best distance runners are Kenyans. They're best for that because they're thin. They're on the thinner side. They don't have too much muscle, but they don't have too much fat either. They're more on the slimmer side, and that enables your body to move for a longer period of time at a more consistent rate. You dig? And so now we're getting into training. So if you're going to do high intensity training, a mile runner is not going to do that much high intensity training because they don't need to. That's not high interval. So for high interval training, you'll see some sprinters do high interval training. So they'll do, if you're running a 100-meter dash, you're running as fast as you can. Your heart rate's going like this. That's a high interval level, and they stop. You're not going to run a mile at that fast pace. You're not going to do that, or because that's when you start to kind of get into the dangerous sense of it. So you're not going to do that because you're not going to overwork your heart. That's why it's called interval. So high spikes of high interval, and then the rest of them are low interval because you have to rest. So I think it's one of the best workouts you can do because you're going to burn calories that way, but you're not going to look like a stick. You'll look more so curved. And I think that's what a lot of people go for. Like, I'm going to just use an example for women. And I know you could probably attest to it. Most women who want to be trained by you always say the same thing. I want to lose my gut. You know what I'm saying? I want to get toned arms. I want to have a nice legs, nice glutes, to look nice, to look cut. And so essentially what I think about is a sprinter body, so because sprinters, you're not going to see them have a big stomach. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to look like a discus, or a shot put thrower. They're going to be cut in the core because you have to have a strong core to be sprinting for these long period of times. You have to have balance. You need to have strong legs. You need to have toned arms in order for you to go fast for a certain period of time, which means you initially have to have some type of muscle. So you'll see a smaller, skinnier sprinter, but you'll also see cut sprinters that look like football players as well, because the muscle helps you go faster. So you have to build some type of muscle in order for you to go at a faster pace. You dig? Or at least a strong legs. But typically that means you're going to have some size to you as well. I say the same thing about long jumpers. Long jumpers and triple jumpers have nice legs, have nice glutes, because we have to be able to jump and generate enough force from the ground to lift your body up and over. And that's where the speed comes in at. So typically you're going to have to build muscle in order for you to do that. But you're also going to have to do some high interval training, such as jump squats, one-legged jumps to build this muscle, but in an athletic way of performing. So that's typically the way I train anyway. Bodybuilding rep range with athleticism performance base. So we do power cleans. You're doing Olympic workouts like shoulder presses, sometimes jumping shoulder presses to get the entire body engaged. So if you're going to look cut, you're going to sweat as well because you're going to drop the fat, drop the calories, but you're also going to build muscle because when you do a shoulder press, you're using your muscles, shoulder muscles. Same thing with push-ups. You're doing a push-up, using your chest muscles, shoulders, and triceps. And then when you're doing a pull-up, you're going to use your lats. You use your back, use your biceps to help you pull it up. And then, like I said, you're doing squats, one-legged squats, lunges, jumps. You're working on your quad, you're working on your hamstring, you're working on your calf muscle, as well as your glutes. Full body workout in high intensity format, I think is one of the best because you get the best of both worlds. You do it for an extended period of time. You're also working out your cardio and your stamina so you can last longer while you're working out and you won't be as tired as well. And those are for any sport, that's any athleticism, as well as combat sport. Combat sport, you're doing high intensity all day with a mix of steady state cardio as well. But
Facts.
that's my take on it, for the most part.
Facts. And you hit everything. You hit all the points. Um, I was gonna add to it. Even for me personally, just kind of naturally how I live. I always incorporate that high intensity training. That interval training. Um, and naturally it keeps me conditioned. I was going to add too, just kind of naturally just incorporating some high intensity training. And I was going to say it's good for everybody. I think this challenge is going to be one that
Exactly.
everybody can jump on. um the guy that commented on the post, I think he's primarily focused on strength, not realizing, that there's also benefits if you can incorporate this hit training, especially jump on this 30-day challenge, because it's going to be free. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some fun. um but it just reminds me, man, just speaking about this, it reminds me, I remember being invited, man. We was running, we finished the workout one day, man. I was with a partner of mine, man, and he invited me. He said, let's finish it off a little different today. Let's run around the park. Not knowing, like I said, man, naturally, I always incorporate that hit training, and I feel like that's part of what helps me just stay
Me
conditioned.
too.
So
Me
I
too.
may not, get out there and run a mile every day, but I feel like I'm conditioned enough to do it. And I'll
That's
never
right.
forget it, man. So we started running. He invited me on this run. I'm like, all right, let's do it. We started running around the park. I'm,
Right.
I'm running up and down the steps. I'm like, man, let's add some steps. Boop, 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 boop. We up and down the steps. He
Right.
looked at me like, man, oh, you really was, oh, when I said run, you really wanted to run. I said, man, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I said all that to say, just by me just always incorporating, some of that hit training into some of that strength base, into some of that calisthenics, I feel like for me, it helps me stay conditioned. That's my form of cardio, you
Yeah.
know. So
That's real. And like you said, it's it's the way I stay going as long as I can in the gym. So if I'm working out, I can go there and lift for like an hour and a half, because I have the stamina to do so. I'm so used to just, um, going hard, but I also, like you said, incorporate this high intensity type of training, in my weight workout. So that way I can continue to go for as long as I can. You dig it, and to go as hard as I can because I'm so used to going at a high intensity level that my body's used to that. Now it's almost normal for me to do that, And I think there's so many different forms of high interval training. I mean, kids do high interval training every day and they don't even know it. You know how many times a kid be doing jumping jacks? They be sprinting across the room left and right. Thus, that's high intensity. So kids do it all the time. They go into the monkey bars. They can create a whole circuit workout and they don't even know. They just playing. You can play and do high intensity. You did. I see it all the time with the kids. That's why kids have a lot of energy. They always going. They training themselves right now. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think it's cool. You know what I mean? And also I use it for weight training. So for example, drop sets. Drop set is a high interval training. So if you're doing, squats, let's say you're doing, 315. Let's say you did it, 10 times, drop 45 on each side immediately, 225. Get as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? Doing squats. You might get 10, you might get 15, who knows, depending on how tired you are. Drop them 45s. Now you got, 145 on each side, and you just rep it out. Dog, that's gonna get you tired. But it's shooting your heart rate through the roof, but you're also building muscle at the same time to get the most out of your workouts. You dig? And that's honestly a way that you could do high interval training. Anything is high interval training. Like you just said, walking up and down some steps fast, you can go up, down, up, down. That's high interval training. You dig? It's shooting your heart rate through the roof as much as you can. Maybe even stair jumps. You may be jumping 2-step jumps per stair. You may do 1-step jump per stair. Anything you could do to increase that that intensity for your level. You dig? So my level of high intensity may not necessarily be an average person's high intensity, which is all good. You dig? You do it. We do it at our own pace. That's the benefit of high intensity because we can all do the same thing, and we all get a decent workout in. You dig? I mean, I know we did our high intensity. I was drenched.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't care, like, I don't care how much you work out. Any high intensity is gonna work you out, and that's from the average to nobody who never works out to some of the best. They all do some type of high intensity training, and it works.
And I was gonna add in there too, man. Like we've been saying too with the movements, like everybody, your heart rate's gonna be different, but you can feel whether or not what you're doing is a form of high intense.
There you go.
You can feel if this is an intense workout or am I able to hold a conversation. Can we talk about who's going to the Super Bowl while we're working out, or are we trying to so you can gauge that. You can be honest with yourself. Like we're saying, some of the benefits are, man, it's extremely beneficial when it comes to weight loss. I've seen, like, I've been able to coach crazy benefits. Like I stated at the beginning of the show, like this was one of those workouts. This was one of my only classes. Every class somebody was coming up to me, man, I burnt 400, and what was the classes, about 45 minutes. My average was on 400 to 600 calories burnt within that 45-minute segment, and
Mm,
all basic movements that we're giving you, the same exact movements that we're going to give you for 30 days, starting in March for that challenge. Some of those same variations of movements, the burpees, we did them in little interval segments. So just to give you an example, so probably about some of my classes, we'll do about 30 seconds of jumping jack, something simple. 30 seconds on, get you about 15-second break. Then do another 30 seconds on, get you about 15-second rest. Try to elevate that heart rate. And like Kobe was saying, it doesn't, my jumping jacks can be extremely intense to raise my heart rate. Yours may be, a variation of those same jumping jacks and raise your heart rate. So
that's it.
everybody can gauge their own intensity.
Yeah, man. Now you hit it on the hammer with that, man. I mean, I think gauging your intensity level is smart. You know what I'm saying? You may be, let's say you might have did 3 rounds of 30 seconds and you drenched. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you go for as much as you can. So for them 30 seconds, let's say your next interval is a sprint. You just sprint as hard as you can. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna have the high, you're not gonna go as the level of where you did when you first started, but you're going as hard as you can, you know what I'm saying, within reason, you still getting it in because the longevity of it is you're doing high interval training for an extended period of time with breaks. You dig? So that's why you give it all what you got, And I know in football we did. I mean, I guess I would consider it high intensity, but I didn't think about it at the time. Bear crawls. You do bear crawls in the heat, dog. Your heart rate gonna spike through the roof. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a slow movement, but man, it will get you so tired because your heart rate doing like this to try to move your entire body, arm, leg. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And having to go back. You know what I'm saying? Just like little things like that. I didn't even think about, but like I said, it's at your own pace. You have to gauge your own high intensity. Everybody does. You know what I'm saying? For someone who may be, they may be overweight, maybe one, two high knees, they heart rate going like this. That's cool. You do what you can. That's why it works. You know what I'm saying? So when you get done with that workout, so you good. And even I'm gonna just take it a step further as far as the internal. So when we look at our heart, when it comes to heart health, it's good to do that because high intensity works a different type of heart muscle. It increases your ventricle reserves. So when we get older, we have a lot more ventricle reserves for the ones who did high intensity to moderate to vigorous high intensity work has seen statistical benefits as they got older because as we get older and every time you smoke or drink or have high obesity and stress, you lose heart ventricles. And all heart ventricles are is the roots that pump the blood from the heart to the lung, like oxygen. It pumps everything from your entire body. So the more ventricles you have, the more roots you have. So if there's a problem and if you lose a root, you still got a million other routes that the body can flow blood through. You dig? And that's what's gonna keep you going. So, that's one thing you don't think about. So if you look at somebody who's older, let's just say who never worked out, who smoked and everything, and they just obese, their ventricles, you may only have by the time you're 50, you may only have maybe 50 ventricles. And these aren't exact numbers. I'm giving just rough, just for example. Versus someone who may have high intensity, you may have double that. You may have 49% more ventricles for someone who had, previously worked out as they were younger, up until a certain age. There's a better chance that, let's just say, if you do get a heart attack, that you'll survive that because you have more heart ventricles to pump that blood through. Versus you may only have 50, and let's say you got a clogged artery, you got about 10 of them that's clogged, you have a heart attack or whatever, you only got so many ventricles, so you can only move but so much before your heart is overworked. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, just from a internal benefit, you want to make sure you're maximizing your lifespan. And high intensity, is a way, not the way, but a way that you can increase your heart ventricles. And essentially, if you do have problems later on down the line, because we never know what's going to happen, we are at least in a better situational chance that we'll survive. So essentially, you'll be saving your own life by incorporating high intensity workouts. I'm not gonna say you don't have, you can do them, you know, every so often as a normal health person. I think it's more important to do it from moderate to intensity throughout your life to save your life as you get older, so it's not going to be as rough for you. And I think we should have some older people who do work out that can attest to that. That can even come on the podcast and say it, because I know I hear it. I know you hear it all the time. So as they get older, they just feel better. So they tell all the young people. I know I was told this: keep doing your thing, keep working out, because you're gonna benefit it when you get older. Because you're gonna slow down and all this and that. But you know, if you're working out, it's not gonna slow down as bad. You won't slow down as much. You can still, for the most part, keep up with the rest, and that's all it takes. When we're not looking to, to be athletes, like top level, just be good enough to where if you want to live a long lasting, healthy life as possible. Benefits of high intensity will help you get there.
Facts, facts. I love it. I love it, man. I'll leave them. I'll leave them with this. My brother dropped some good facts. You can do the numbers to get as in depth as you want on the ventricles, as many, how many. That's all I needed to know was, that hit training is something that just if I incorporated a few days into some of my training that I'm already doing.
Facts.
We see the big guys all the time, the strength trainers. It's okay to incorporate some of this hit training as well. Is what I gained from it. So we just keep doing that. Ultimately, like you said, man, we just want to prolong life. We want to try to have the best quality of living while we're here. God bless us with
Facts.
a life. He blessed us to wake up again. Another day we're here to live. And let's just try to do some of the things that we know, some of the things that we can control. And if we can incorporate some of this training, hey, let's do it. We got a free challenge
Yep.
coming up. We'll be talking about it all month. You'll probably see us if you're in the Charlotte area working on some of the content. I know I've been put a little bit on the stories. We put a little bit on the stories, just
Oh
so you
yeah.
got to kind of get a glimpse of just some of the movements, man. Real simple movements. It's not much. Remember that you gauge your intensity, and that's all I got for tonight.
That's it, man. That's it. And I'm gonna give a couple of shout outs, man. We, for the comments, man. Shout out to Jabari, man. He was here, a couple of weeks ago, man. You doing your thing. Them bear calls in the heat will burn you out. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? For all my football guys, you know how it was. Shoot, they had us out there in that 80-degree heat, man, in the summertime. You know how it was. Power clean, sprint, suicides. You already know, man. You know what I'm saying? He also said to know your max heart rate, subtract your age from 220. There you go. So that's some math for you guys. So if there's some type of logic and math behind what we're saying, then it's some level of truth to it. You dig? And that's the excuse me, I can't even talk. Statistics. So you can look this up. This isn't anything that we're just like shooting out of our tails. This is actual real documented things. And me being IT, saying I understand that we do stuff for the medical field too, so we have to understand these numbers when it comes to your heart. So a lot of this stuff, man, like we just get it, and I preach to the people just from what I know and just from the people that I work with, and that's kind of what we're kicking it to you guys, just to let you know it's more than just a workout. Sure, you see it all the time, but there's a science behind it, that's backing up what we're talking about to ensure that you are going to get the best workout that you can and have the most benefit to being the beast that you can be, you dig, and to live a long lasting, healthy life. Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure everybody is living the most healthy that we can, and I don't think we talk about health enough. So I would say health is real wealth. You dig? You can make all the money you can, man, but if you got heart problems, you ain't thinking about no dollar. You thinking about somebody help me. You know what I'm saying? So the one thing you can do is help yourself. I love going to the dentist and going to the doctor and that man, you healthy. That's the best feeling in the world, man, because you don't know what's going on with you until you get checked out. You don't know. So I think we doing ourselves a service and making everybody's job easy by doing that. We saving our own life. For people who are mostly healthy, they weren't affected by the whole 2020 stuff going on. You dig? So if anything, that should tell you something. That's one thing I'll just leave you with. You dig?
Yeah, yeah, that's real. That's real.
Yes, sir. Well, I
Appreciate you. Shout
appreciate you,
out to
sir.
Jabari for dropping that what's that, the formula.
That's the formula, man. That's
Max
it.
heart rate.
That's
Good
real.
stuff.
That's real
Good
talk.
stuff.
Hey man, we gonna get up out of here, man. I know sure you got big things to do. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming out for the people, man. We trying to stay blessing the people and give them some good gems. You did. We doing it every week. So I hope this helps somebody along the way. If you have any questions, please tap in with us. You know what I'm saying? You can reach Showtime at Showtime Training Group, and that's gonna be on Facebook. That's on IG as well. You did. You can reach me at Facebook, Rise and Rise Academy. IG is King Alajuwan 21. You can see a scroll at the bottom. You dig what I'm saying? You can find these lives on YouTube. You can find these lives on Facebook. That's where they're all kept. These aren't deleted. These are all saved into the cloud. So you can always go back later and just check out some of the gems that we giving, man. Well, listen, we dropping y'all some stuff from experience, and not only experience, but from a logical standpoint and from a survey standpoint as well. We even have guests that come on and back up what we say as well. You dig? So this isn't just coming from, nowhere. This is coming from real people. You dig? This is coming from real people and real facts. That's it, man. But yeah, hey, well, listen, we gonna get up out of here. I appreciate y'all coming through. Hey, at Rise and Rise Academy, when we face with an obstacle, what we do?
We rise, baby. Peace.
Peace. Yeah, that was a good one, dog.